We live in this like crazy, highly competitive society where we're constantly comparing ourselves to others and putting ourselves down, putting others down. We often engage in negative self-talk that leads to negative feelings and negative emotions, and those can turn into anxiety and depression and these types of things. What is up, everybody? And welcome back to the Schooling Struggle Podcast. It is our belief that the only guarantee in life is that we are all going to struggle, and how we choose to embrace our struggles is what empowers us to become the best versions of ourselves. How is it going? My name is Pete, coming to you from a very chilly Vermont. And with me is my friend and co-host, coming to you from Tacoma, Washington, Mr. Todd Ellis. What is up, Todd?
What's happening, guys? Not much. How you doing? Long time no see.
I know, it's been a while. How's life on the forklift?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Good.
Yeah.
And you mentioned guys, because joining us tonight is our co-host and regular contributor these days, Mr. Brian Foyer, coming to you from about a mile away from where I'm sitting right now. What is up, Brian?
Not much, guys. Good to see you. Good to see you, Todd.
Yeah,
Been too long.
too, man.
Todd lives in Tacoma, and Brian sells Tacomas. So there's a connection there.
Wow.
Sure do.
Nice. A couple degrees.
I'm super fired up today. I got a lot of great things going on. Living and loving the term too blessed to be stressed. I got so much to be grateful for in my life right now. And it is the month of Thanksgiving. It's the month of November right now.
Yes.
It's a month of giving thanks. So I spent a little extra time on the gratitude piece, and that's been really helpful. Find myself in a super flow right now. And I think it really all stems from getting off YouTube. Like when I'm off the screens, everything else just seems to fall into place. I have gone back and forth on my morning and evening workouts over the years, and I found a really nice split and rhythm that I'm into right now. So I do a workout every morning that's mostly cardio based and body weight, and then I'll lift my weights after school once my body's kind of warmed up and ready to go. This morning when I went out to the garage, it was 22 degrees.
Chilly.
Yeah. So just layers and layers. But man, I just feel so alive and so uncomfortable out there working out at 22 degrees. It's just like, it's just so amazing. So what I've been trying to do to build my cold stamina is I've been doing the first 10 minutes of my ride into work with the windows down.
Yeah.
Short sleeves. Man, my fingertips are numb and my ears burn. And once I hit that 10-minute mark, it's just like windows up. It just feels so nice. But like I'm trying to build my tolerance to discomfort to the cold by exposing myself to it. People pay a lot of money to like go to these cryotherapy places, but no, all you need to do is get in a car on a cold day, roll the windows down, blast the M&M or the Jay-Z, and you're good to go.
Oh man, you should get a squirt bottle and just spray your face and put your face out the window.
Yeah. Feeling alive.
Yeah.
I'm feeling so alive. I'm getting to bed super, super early, getting up nice and early, getting a good workout in. One of my former students that I've known forever comes and works out with me at 5:30 in the morning. He's also one of the lacrosse coaches at my school. So big shout out to Coach Kyle Pryor, who I love to death. And things are really good.
Yeah. Don't love him to death, or you might not be able to shout out to him for very long.
It's true. The day I wake up dead, I'm so pissed. I'm not going to talk to anybody.
Don't do that. Is your garage heated at all, or is it legit 22?
It's 22 degrees. It's 22 degrees. I try to keep all my workout stuff out there until Thanksgiving, and then I'll bring it all down in the basement, which is a huge process, one that I don't love. In fact, I loathe. So I just put it off as long as possible. But just embracing the discomfort of the cold has been really enjoyable for me.
You run on you hit the air bike first thing, so you get that nice
first 5 minutes. The air bike just spits that cold air in my face. It's just everything goes numb, and then from there you're good to go.
That is great.
Nice. It's awesome.
Cool.
So it's so cool to have all three of us available tonight. We all have different stuff going on in our lives, and to get us all three together at the same time is really cool. I had a plan for tonight's show, and then lo and behold, on our text thread, the three of us, I got some news from Todd that today is a special day in the world. So we decided to change the frame of the pod, and the theme of the show is based on today. Todd, please share with the listeners what today, November 14th, is.
Well, it's not National Todd Day, but it's the National Day of Kindness, or so I heard this morning. So
today is the National Day of Kindness. And I thought it'd be cool to have an episode based around that. But as a teacher, you hear that word so much. Like, be kind. You got to be kind. I think it's really outplayed. I think people hear the word kindness, and it's like kind of like the Peanuts parents, wah 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 wah. Like we just hear this thing about kindness over and over and over again. But like, what does that actually mean, or how does that actually apply to our lives? And my goal tonight is to have a conversation about this, but not in some like Pollyanna way that's like talking about how we should be kind. We've each done our homework and brought some nuance to this conversation tonight, which I'm really pumped about. And I'm excited just to get into it. So I'd like to kind of launch the conversation just by throwing it up there for either of you to like take the mic and run with it, to lead off in any way that you want. And then I can kind of guide the conversation. Brian, you haven't got much in since I hit record 5 minutes and 40 seconds ago.
Not
Where do you want to go with this?
I read a thing today when I was looking this up. Lao Tzu said, kindness in words creates confidence, kindness in thinking creates great insight, and kindness in giving creates love. And that's sort of where I started thinking about this subject. I did change a little word in there because I used the word profundity, and I don't like to use words that are bigger than I can care to. I like to keep it simple. So if everyone says, "Oh, he misquoted that," no, I took a little literary.
Nice.
My 5th grade brain appreciates that, Brian. Thank you.
I try to think of myself and then the listeners. Kindness out of love is what you're looking for. But if kindness doesn't have love behind it, it can be manipulation or control. And that's sort of a negative side to it. And like I said, that's how I started thinking about it. Kindness is great, but what's behind it? And I don't know if you guys thought of it at all like that or not. But those were kind of where my mind went with it. Because at first, like you said, Pollyanna, yeah, it's all great and good. But like you said, it's like those teachers talking, because they may be saying be kind, but what's behind them saying be kind?
Yeah, my question is like, what does that actually mean?
Yeah.
Like, be kind. Like what does that actually mean? So, an example from my week is I was at the deli 3 days ago, and I was in line waiting for a sandwich, and one of my former students walked in. He's 25 now, and he's like, "Yo, Mr. D, it's so good to see you." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, Brendan, I haven't seen you in so long. How have you been?" And we kind of caught up. He goes, "I still got it." I go, "What?" He goes, "The letter." I go, "What letter?" He goes, the letter you wrote me." I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's right." This kid pulls out his wallet and pulls out this janky, wrinkly piece of paper. And on it was a letter that I wrote him before he graduated. And he's like, "Take this thing with me wherever I go." And that was like the most meaningful trip to the deli I've ever had in my life. And I almost got choked up in tears, like, holy crap, like this thing has stayed with you now for 7 years in your wallet. He's like, "Yeah, this thing's getting so beat up, I'm gonna have to make another photocopy of it before I lose it." And because it was a photocopied version of the original letter that I wrote, because the original one that I wrote was like all beat up and tattered. And I share this story because seeing that he kept that made my day. It made more than my day. And what I wonder about kindness, and this is Todd and I have talked about this many, many, many episodes ago, but what is the driver there? Like when we think about the people in our life who are the kindest people that we know, we all have people like that. Hopefully we all have people like that. When I think about those people, it's like, what is the driver for their kind actions? And often for me, I wonder, is my kindness because it feels good for me? Like I was kind to Brendan 7 years ago by writing him a letter about my belief in him and how proud I was that he managed to graduate high school. But that came back to me and filled me up. And that's kind of a selfish thing, right? So am I kind to people because it feels good for me? And if I'm doing it because it feels good for me, is it really kind? Or is perception reality? As long as that person receives it as kindness, then it actually is genuine kindness. I don't know. But writing that letter to Brendan felt dang good. And receiving that info from him 3 days ago felt really, really good. But is that all selfish or is that genuine kindness? I don't know.
That sounds like genuine kindness to me, because you weren't doing it to be manipulative. You're trying to help someone who's where you've been to get through the next steps where they are, and what it's meant to him over time. It's that thing where I talked about throwing a stone into water and a ripple. That's still rippling 7 years later. What you did. I had a person years ago. My first new to me car was a little sports car they had, and they sold it to me at the cost of what I could get a loan for. They weren't going to charge me like the Kelly Blue Book. And I always thought that was very nice. And then a few years back now, when I was selling my minivan, a young family here in town, approached me about it. And I could have sold it for more, but I did the same for them because it was worth Kelly Blue Book. It was a really nice vehicle. And I still see that car on the road to this day. And every time I see it, I'm like, yeah, that was the right thing to do. I didn't do it to be selfish. I did it because someone did that for me. And how could I pass that on? And then maybe they'll pass it on. They don't have to. But
Interesting. Yeah, my mind went, it's so cool how we can all get together because we all have such differing, like you just say kindness, right? And Brian has a completely different idea about it or interpretation today, perhaps, than Peter. And then Peter like puts it in the lens of everything else. And then I also have it. So mine was a lot different. When I heard it, as I do a lot of times when I hear a word and I like try to connect it to some emotion or something that I think that means, I often wonder to myself, what the hell is kindness? What does that even mean, right? And so I went to work, and yesterday I went to work, and I was telling people, especially this one individual I work with, that tomorrow is National Kindness Day, and she told me, she's like, "Well, that's weird that you would say that." And now I'm kind of the old guy at work, right? Because I'm almost 50, and these kids, and some of these people are dramatically less than I am. Some are about the same age, and this woman's about the same age as me, maybe a little bit older. And she said, "I'm going to do something kind for you. I'm not going to come to work tomorrow." And I thought, well, like she was joking, but I was like, well, what kind of wacky interpretation is that? Because I was thinking about it. And then she says this. So today I went to work and I was telling everybody, on my way there, oh, it's National Kindness Day, blah, blah, blah. To watch everybody unfold it the way that they thought kindness was very interesting. So, and it eventually arrived me to look it up, which is the homework I was talking about. What's the difference between being nice and being kind? So that's where like a lot of people were saying nice things where typically they probably wouldn't, which is cool because it kind of did the job, right? Like I was National Kindness Day, I raised awareness. Everybody's cognitively trying to do something different to make it seem like they're being kind, right? Because it's Kindness Day. So, which is cool. But then it was just, I started noticing, well, you're just saying nice things. You're not going, in my mind, the act of kindness is something with it comes with more than just saying something nice. It comes with an action, or to me it's like kind of generous, or it's a couple layers deeper than nice. Like I could say nice things, but that's great, but like Brian's saying, I'm going to do the nice thing. I'm going to do the thing that's been nice to me. Like I felt that as an emotion and I'm going to do something nice. So that's where I started. And so I looked it up, and to be nice means to present a pleasant side to other people. To be kind is very similar, but a bit stronger in that kindness carries a sense of being generous and helpful as well as mere pleasantness. So I think there's something to discern there about what does kindness mean and what are the things that we each think is kind. It's funny, Brian, that you were telling that story. I remember I hadn't thought about this in a very long time. When I was a kid, my dad always had a van. We had three children, and then his wife, my mom, and us. And we'd go on trips, and we had a dog and all this stuff. So we would always buy like a 11-person van, 9-person van, whatever. And we were on vacation one time, and this guy and his family were on the side of the road. And I remember my dad pulled over and was like, can I help you or whatever? And the guy was like, my car broke down, like the series of unfortunate events happened to this guy. And my dad said, I'll be back in a minute. We went and got a totally different vehicle. My dad came back and sold the guy the van. He's like, you need this van more than I need. And I was like, what do you mean you're selling the van? Like, we're somewhere crazy far away, Oregon or so, like something like we're just going to get a new car. He's like, yeah, this guy needs the van. I'm in a position where I can help this guy with the van. And that is like, that's kindness, right? Like that is ridiculous kindness, but that transcends just nice. Like nice would be, I'll give you a ride, or here's some money. Kindness is, I'm going to sell you my van at a reasonable price, and then you can get along your way. And because we've met, something has changed in both people's life. And I think that's what kindness means to me. So that's a long-winded story, but
no, that's great.
Have at it. Yeah.
Look at
I
Pete
love the
thinking.
storytelling. Oh, yeah. Smoke's coming out of my ears. What you just said there, Todd, and I didn't think about that at all, is, what is a relationship, or what is the difference between niceness and kindness? Makes me think about conversations I've had about the difference between happiness and joy. Yeah. Joy is that like deeper level of fulfillment, and happy is like good and easy. And to experience joy is not always good and easy. and you kind of have to, battle through the raindrops to see the rainbow type of thing with joy. I think kindness can be the same. Like you could be doing something kind for somebody, but it's not a joyful experience. I I don't want to offend anyone by saying this, but it's something like, what's the difference between an East Coaster and a West Coaster?
Hey.
Sorry. What's the difference between someone? Actually, it wasn't East Coast or West Coast. What's the difference between someone from California and someone from New England?
What?
In California, if you're on the side of the road with a flat tire, someone will pull up and say, "Oh my gosh, you have a flat tire. That's so bad. I feel so sorry for you. That's just so awful." And they'll say those things and then drive away. And someone from New England will pull up next to you, give you a bunch of crap, and while they're giving a bunch of crap, they change your tire for you.
Nice.
It's kind of like that. Like
Yeah.
we can do kind things, but it's not always nice. If that makes sense, it's not always like, yeah.
For
It's just
who?
it's a deal. I mean, I think kindness can absolutely come in the form of niceness, but I think kindness, like you're saying with your work, is more than just saying. I think often kindness, there's a level of doing there, or
Yeah.
there's a level of transformation with either the giver or the receiver or both.
Yeah, it's like, what's the intention, right? Like, are you just saying something nice, just tick the box on National Kindness Day, or do you really mean that?
But I definitely think like you can be nice to the point where it's kind. Like, if you're nice to someone, you say something kind, if you say something nice and they receive it as kindness and you've improved the quality of their life through that interaction, there's a level of kindness there, I believe.
I think that's the variance between people, right? Like, I thought that was kind, but you were just like, I'm just being a nice guy. So, it depends on both parties, or all parties, I suppose.
Yeah, like you said, just ticking a box.
Yeah, right. That was kind. See, but and another piece of it too is, I think, for me personally, like I gauge. I don't go around doing this all the time, but today it was kind of on my mind. Was I gauge how that lands with somebody? So there's a manager at work. So we always have different managers. There's a guy, they call him MIT's manager in training. So they come from somewhere else and they're going to be our manager for 12 weeks or something, right? And this specific manager, Brian, like we've had conversations, whatever, nothing deep. And I was leaving work and Brian's out, doing work that I would do, right? Doing work that anybody that works underneath him would be doing. And it's not typical that happens where I work. And so I stopped and I was like, hey, it's really nice to have a manager that does work that I would do. And he looked at me like, what? And I was like, yeah, like, it's just, I don't see it very often. So I thought I'd tell you that. And he was like, stopped. Like, and I thought, now that's kindness. Like he felt something that I said. And I think that's kind of the way I go about it, is if I feel a little lackluster about what I've said, or it didn't land in a way that I maybe anticipated or that I wanted to project, I think that you can always go another step to be a little bit deeper in the kindness if you're going to spend the first step by saying something.
Because he's managing with some leadership in there.
Right.
You don't see that in managers very often.
Definitely not in the environment that I'm in. So, they're more of the prescriptive, you guys go do that, and I'm just going to stand here and do what we tell you everybody else not to do, which is like, what are we doing? So, yeah, but so there's I think there's lots of layers to it.
Because then, the people that are working there they'll do only the work they have to do.
Exactly.
They won't go above and beyond and do extra stuff because they know it won't be appreciated or recognized with kindness.
Yeah. There's no incentive, right? So,
yeah.
Pete, what?
I was just going to say, do you have people in your life who you refer to as descriptors and you don't use your name? You don't use their name. So like you might be talking to someone and say, oh, my plow guy friend, or my farmer friend, or you just kind of refer to people based on kind of their role in your life when you're talking to someone else. Like your wife doesn't actually know your lunch buddy's name. She just knows him as your lunch buddy at work. Someone told me today, one of my colleagues told me today, that when he's at home, he refers to me as the health and wellness guru guy, which I thought was kind of funny. And it's funny that he said that kindness to me today, because when we decided to go down this kindness route, my immediate thought was, all right, what are the positive health implications, both of the mind and the body, for kindness? So in doing my homework for tonight's episode, I did some research on the physiological and mental benefits of kindness, physiological meaning of the body, and mental obviously being of the mind. So I just want to share with you some of the stuff that I found in my research this morning.
Yeah, please.
Is that so kindness, being considerate, helpful, thoughtful, those are the core qualities according to this study of what kindness is. And the research shows that people who have or yield these qualities can improve the lives of not only themselves, but the people of those around them. And they enjoy better health because of it. biological markers indicate this. So, and what's really interesting about some of this research is that studies indicate that simply witnessing acts of kindness can have positive impacts on people or positive side effects on their health and wellness. So either performing, receiving, or witnessing acts of kindness can increase self-esteem, empathy, and compassion, improve mood, and kindness can also increase sense of connectivity with others, which we know that has a direct impact on feelings of loneliness, which are directly correlated and related to long-term health and wellness. They improve low mood and enhance relationships in general. So physiologically speaking, kindness positively charges the human brain. It boosts serotonin and dopamine levels, which are the neurotransmitters in the brain that give you feelings of satisfaction, well-being, and has that like pleasure reward center of your brain where it lights up the endorphins, which are your body's natural painkiller. So you're literally like releasing pain by participating or witnessing acts of kindness, which is really interesting to me. Research also shows that kindness can be good for the heart, what they call cardioprotective. It can decrease blood pressure and cortisol levels. Cortisol levels are the stress hormones that act within our body when we're feeling stress, and decreasing stress directly impacts our health and wellness in positive ways. Oxytocin, Todd, I'm going to ask that you just look what that is so we can give the listeners a definition of that. Oxytocin, Oxytocin. Oxytocin releases nitric oxide, and nitric oxide dilates your blood vessels and reduces blood pressure and improves your heart health. And the last thing that I thought that was really interesting about this, being kind to ourselves. So not only being kind to others, but being kind with ourselves. We live in this like crazy, highly competitive society where we're constantly comparing ourselves to others and putting ourselves down, putting others down. We often engage in negative self-talk that leads to negative feelings and negative emotions, and those can turn into anxiety and depression and these types of things. So when we're kind to our neighbors, we're kind to ourselves, we respect and love that. It really has these long-term positive implications that decrease stress and increase both mental health and physical well-being. I keep coming back to the fact that, like, do we need scientific studies that cost millions of dollars to like recognize this stuff? But yes, because we rely on science now to back everything up, at least in schools. That's really important. I just threw a ton at you, but I think that that's from the health standpoint, it's really interesting.
Yeah. Brian, what you got?
We certainly do have 3 different approaches at this thing. I love it. I'm just trying to see here, and you go. I'm just trying to figure out how to put it into words. It's
Oh, I was looking up oxytocin. It's interesting. It's a hormone and a neurotransmitter. It's involved in social bonding, love, reproduction, childbirth. It's the key for influencing attraction and caregiving. Has a lot to do with child rearing as well, and the female body.
Right. And I'm a firm believer that all of our actions are dialed back to our DNA, which the sole purpose of our existence is to survive and procreate.
Yep.
So we're talking like DNA at its most basic. That kindness piece is like a most basic human action or human condition for survival and procreation, which is so fascinating to me in so many ways.
Yeah, there's that deep insight.
Must be a teacher. Looking up all these things.
No, there's so many things I could say right now that are so unprofessional that I'd love. I was hanging out with the boys in the living room of my college dorm. There's so many things I could say right now, but I'm going to keep it professional.
Okay. Where else are you taking us?
So I guess where I would go personally is after I graduated college, I had an opportunity to move to the Boston area and manage a swimming pool for the summer. I graduated with a degree in sport management, which is like facility management. And I was offered this job to work at this pool at this aquatic facility in a really small town just outside of Boston in the town called Lexington, Massachusetts. Some of you might have heard of the Battle of Lexington and Concord back in the day, and that's where this went down. And I have a first cousin named Lori, and I call her Saint Lori because she is one of, if not the nicest human being I've ever met in my life. And Lori and her husband Dave have 2 kids, Sarah and Stevie, and they invited me to come stay at their house for the summer and not charge me a nickel so that I could take this opportunity to be this pool manager, kind of start my post-college life. And one summer led to 7. I went back there every summer for 6 summers after that, and they were just accepting me with open arms. And that was almost into my 30s. Every summer I'd go there, and then every winter I'd go teach snowboarding in Vermont. And in the spring and the spring and the fall, I'd travel all over the world. That's what I did for many, many years. And they were so supportive of me. But I bring this up because when I think of the two things. One, I'm going to pose this question to you, and I posed this question to my wife before I walked down here. What is it about those kindest people that we know, like the kindest people we've ever met or that we've learned about or that we've come across? What is their driver for their being kind? Like their kindness sets them apart, at least for me, from many other people. But like what is the why there? Why are they so kind, and what's their driver? And for me, one of these people is my cousin Lori. I call her Saint Lori, and she's so humble. She doesn't love that I call her Saint Lori. But it was really cool for me to live in a household that wasn't mine. And like I learned from that, like the value of everybody could go live in a household that's not theirs, because I think you grow up and you do the same stuff the way you're raised because that's how you know. And I had such a paradigm shift because my cousin's husband, Dave, was so different than my father in so many ways. Not better, not worse, just different. And Lori was so different from my mother in so many ways. Again, not better, not worse, just different. But to see these perspectives and to see how Lori lived her life with such a high level of kindness and still does, it was really, really fascinating for me. So in our text thread leading up to the show tonight, I said, hey, who are some of those kindest people that we know? And for me, it's Lori. And what I gleaned from spending 7 summers living with Lori is that I think now, and I see this in other people I think that are incredibly kind, is the kindest people that I know are also the people who are most comfortable in their own skin. They are not having any need to rise above other people, to knock other people down. They're just so comfortable with who they are, with their characteristics, with their situation in life. They're the same people to me that are just so easy and peaceful to be around. Those are the people that are consistent and are just so comfortable in their own skin. For me, I don't have to worry about anything when I'm around those people. And there's a couple others that I think that are just like at the top of the totem pole when it comes to kindness in my life. And the characteristic that all those people share is they just seem to me they're so comfortable in their own skin to the point where they don't need to have any sharp edges as they go about their life.
One of the things I've noticed with people like that is seems like they're just doing it because it's the right thing to do. They're just natural givers. And I think that you being comfortable in your own skin like that is, now I get ahead of myself, is when you don't take things personally. You're not doing it for the attention. You're just doing it, like say, for it's a right thing to do. And too many people then get jealous of them because suddenly they're getting attention and they don't want it, but this other person wants it and they can't seem to get it. It's a weird sort of how that works from the people I've seen like that. I think a person like that has to make sure they have good boundaries set around them, because there are people who will take from those givers and they'll just keep taking till the giver builds that boundary. And I think by learning to build those boundaries helps them develop that ease that you see with them. That's just what I've noticed with people like that.
Yeah, there's people who are givers, but they almost to the point where like people walk all over them. But those truly kind people that I know, people don't walk all over them because they respect that level of kindness so much.
That's where the
Todd,
boundaries come in. I think those people have self-respect and boundaries that the other people can see and realize that's just a nice person. It's a good person.
Yeah, those people that are super comfortable to be around. Exactly what you just said, Brian. They have a high level of self-respect and boundaries, and I think that that's pretty amazing. Todd, you're looking up and to the left, which means you're thinking deep.
There's a lot
stewing in the brain.
There's a lot of empathy there with those people too.
Yeah, for sure. You've said all of the things about the person that when I think kindness, and I screw it up a lot, and I don't recognize it as often as I should, which is probably what most spouses say. But my wife is an extremely kind person, and she's a nurse, so she's a caregiver, and she has a deep self-respect for herself to the point where it's like a duck in water. Like you could say almost anything to her and it just rolls right off. She's like, I don't care what they think. And sometimes I think to myself, how can you not care what other people think like that? And she really doesn't even care. Like if that's how they choose to see me, well then whatever. And she doesn't even let it bother them. And so I think that all those attributes that you were talking about are correct in my purview. And I think that Brian, I think what you were touching on is it goes one further. I think that people with those attributes or characteristics only concern or allow people in their inner circle that realize that they're those kind of people, because they don't waste their time with people who nickel and dime or think, oh, well, I wish I could be more like you because you're getting all the attention. They just don't have time for that. So they're just like, you know what? All of my friends that I choose to give my friendship to, these are the people who either see things in a very similar light as me or carry enough respect to let me just be the person that I am. And I think that goes a long ways towards, Peter, what you were saying. Like, that's the ultimate kindness. You see that in other people enough to where the respect that you see for your cousin makes you blind to the fact that other people might be envious of it. She's just so kind, right?
I was waiting for you to use the word respect, because that's a
Yeah.
big key to it. And
all these things are kind of just smashed together, like you were saying, Peter, about when you did your research. That sounds an awful lot to me like gratitude. It plays roles to other people, and when somebody sees it, do unto others, and like everybody around benefits from it. So I think all of these things that we touch on, back to what you're saying with the DNA, I think they all hit a base level of kind of the things that people are in tune with. And I think that people pick up on those things, like just like the kindness of other people, like they see it and they gravitate towards it or pulled towards it.
if I hadn't said it before, one of the things I've always said and heard years ago is that maturity has nothing to do with age. And I know people who are older than me, far younger than me, like you were talking about the people you work, and even students in school where you are, Pete. They're so mature. Younger and older people are the people you tend to be attracted to, and vice versa, because you sort of feed off of each other in a way that's, I don't know how to explain, but it's keeping you both up. Pete is in deep thought.
Yeah, I am.
No doubt about it.
Because, Todd, what you said a couple moments ago about your wife and she let stuff roll off, that's never been something that I could do well. And I think people who let stuff roll off have just an immense amount of security within themselves. And I've spent so much of my life being so insecure that I had to clap back. And what I was just thinking about when you said that, Brian, is my daughter right now. And she has the same approach to that stuff as I do. So if she feels shamed or threatened or anything by a classmate, she'll clap back at them. And it's like fighting fire with fire. And I worry about that because I see that manifesting at the high school level. And it's like, but Jen and I talk at length about how can we help her with that. I don't know. And when I say to Jen, half jokingly, I'm like, well, it didn't really start to turn for me until I was 27. My wife's like, what? She's like, I can't see that. We can't do this until she's 27. So I feel that my kindness changed from being not that kind to a higher level of kindness when I started to become more secure within myself, when I was more willing to admit my faults, when I was okay with my shortcomings, when I had a more of a growth mindset. And that's what I want my 9-year-old daughter to be at age 9, not 27.
Yeah, we'll get in line. You can want in one hand. I'm just saying. It's so funny because I heard something a couple months ago, Peter, it might be useful for you. And we've talked about this before, about how you map things out on your tongue before you open your mouth and you speak it into existence. There's 3 key points. When you're about to say something, you can stop yourself and you can think about it. Is this true? That's the first one. Is this kind? Is the second. And the third is, does this matter? Like, those might be 3 points to teach her to pause, right? Like, like, is it true? Like, usually you're just running off the mouth about something you don't even know about. The second one is it kind? Like, would I say this to you, to your face? And then the third one is, even if I pass the first 2, does it even matter? Because usually then it's like, why am I even thinking about this? Why am I even talking about this?
I think it all stems from a high level of insecurity with her.
Yeah. God, how do you?
And I know, yeah. I work with 500 high schoolers. I don't work directly with 500 high schoolers every day. I work with around 100, but I see 500 high schoolers in action every day. And again, those kids that are the kind ones, in my opinion, are the ones that are most comfortable with self.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
There's a way you could harness all of the different cool things about, like, the kids you see the attributes in, and then pull them in and be like, do a further study. Like, what makes that happen? Like, what's your home life look like? What's, what, or however you could dig into that, that'd be cool. Because then you could distill it.
Yeah. I'm sure people have if not done that, tried. You know, and there's research about a lot of that stuff in the field of education, but just seeing it play out every day is so fascinating. I love being a high school teacher. Like, I just love it so much for so many reasons. Today was it was a very, very average, typical day for me. And it was an amazing day.
That's awesome.
I shared with you
cool.
the other day that quote I sent my children by Charles Dickens, "A loving heart is the truest wisdom." I so enjoyed their replies back to me. You know, we had a little discussion about that, and it's not easy as being a parent.
Yeah. I think you nailed it with that word example. I think that if I think about all the kindness things that I've strung together from today, and if I think back, you know, to those people and their attributes, and you know, my wife and all these things, you can always expect that there's going to be an example, and you're going to be able to take something away from it when you see a display of kindness, or you participate in an act of kindness. You can go a step further, and you can be the example for other people to learn from. And I think that that's really what puts it into action. Is we're not just going to say nice things. We're going to go be kind. And here's how I am kind. And I think other people can take a nugget away from that. You know, like Peter, like you're saying, like, I don't know how to teach kindness. Well, you teach it by doing it, right? Like, I'm going to go show you how kindness works for me, because I don't think it's prescriptive. I don't think everybody just says, here's the book of how to be kind. I don't think that's a thing, right?
And in my daughter's defense, she does so many kind acts.
Oh yeah, sure.
On a regular basis, both in school and out. Like, my wife was sick the other day, and she was laying on the couch, and before my daughter goes to school, she goes and gets her a box of tissues, and then gets like stuff that's important to a 9-year-old. She gets her some candy, and she puts a couple DVDs. And yes, we still watch DVDs in my house. She puts a couple DVDs on the coffee table and Jen's favorite books, and like,
nice,
you know, these, like, all my daughter's favorite stuffed animals, like, just such a kind thing,
compassionate.
Yeah. And what she does is really cool. My takeaway from life, and I did not think that I'd be in the teaching game for 19 years, but the kids that I've worked with, how that comes back to help me later in life. Like, I didn't expect that this kindergartner who I helped tie his shoe every day would be my electrician. And I didn't think that I would be relying on all these people so much. And they're like, yeah, I got you. Because back in the day, or even last week, you did this for me as my teacher, and I'm grateful, and I got you. And I know that if I ever need anything, there's people there that can help me. And it's just like, if for no other reason, 100% selfish reasons, if we're kind to people, it's going to make our life that much smoother, and might have that, you know, physiological and mental health impact. I mean, hopefully we're not kind, for that's going back to my original kind of point when we first started. Hopefully the goal is not, we're not being kind for selfish acts, but it does feel really good to be kind, and it does come back. And you just never know. Like, you never know what people remember, or what you said or did that sticks with them, both positively and negatively. But just being kind to people, even in the toughest of circumstances, I think that really, really matters.
If you look back across it, based on all of those points of feedback you've gotten from all of the different people, do you feel like you have planted those kind moments? Maybe not knowingly, but they've come back and now they're bearing fruit. Is that you planted the seeds and you get the fruit later because somebody's like, I got this note in my wallet? Do you feel like that's how it's played out?
I do.
Yeah.
Extrinsically, it's much easier to identify teaching high school. So I taught kindergarten through 8th for 12 years, and this is my 7th year at the high school, and I see it manifesting at a much higher rate and much more frequently as a high school teacher than I did when I was teaching younger students. The cool thing is not that it comes back and helps me, like, oh, I get a price break on my
that's just a bonus,
my electrician.
Yeah.
But it's that person now has the skills to be kind to other people, and if nothing else, like, I'm striving to model that. And I always say I'm planting seeds. Sometimes I see the seeds sprout, sometimes I don't, sometimes I see them go into full bloom, but just getting reminders that it's worth planting these seeds.
Yeah, cool, nice work.
Awesome.
Yeah, why don't you send me a packet of those seeds so I can plant some around me?
I think you need to plant a few and send them to your wife.
Yeah, I definitely need to do that.
So do I.
Supply.
I know for me, it's how I start my day. And we had a meeting this week, and they were talking about the words of affirmation and things in the morning. Jokingly, that's what that Saturday Night Live guy. I'm smart enough. I'm good enough. And gosh darn it, people like me. But what you say to yourself is so important, and so few people don't take the time.
Yeah.
I think people just don't know, right? Like, and I don't want to get off topic, but like it goes back to what I was saying. Like, when I think of kindness, like, what the hell does that mean? When I think of giving myself affirmations, it's like, what am I supposed to say to myself? You know what I mean? As corny as it just sounded, from
Yeah.
like that's what people actually say, and I'm just like, wow, that feels weird to say that about myself. I don't know.
In my first block class, that's the mindset class I teach, and like we'll circle up, like take the chairs, put them inside the desks, and just have a circle with there's no barrier in between. And it's really interesting how much more willing students are to share when there's not a desk in front of them.
Oh yeah.
So it's like the desks are in a circle and the kids are sitting behind their desks, and they're much less likely to share if we just take those chairs, lift them over the desk, put them in the center of the room, and now there's a circle there with no physical barrier.
Oh,
of the
wow.
desks. It's like magic. It's really, really fascinating. And I love the way we start class. So this week, I just enrolled in a life coach course.
Nice.
And so I'm going to be a certified life coach whenever
Good
I
job.
pass this course. And how cool would it be? I've been thinking, I don't know if I'll do this, but how cool would it be to like set one of those up during my summer and do a miracle morning? And like people that want to come and like sign up for this thing and like just do an hour in the morning. That's some like communication, some light exercise, whether it's walking or yoga, do some hydration. Everyone brings a water bottle, and then we like connect with each other through like cool questions and conversation. And I just think it would be so cool to have this like kindness community that starts off the day with this miracle morning, like you're saying, Brian. Like when the day starts off well, the rest of the day seems to go well. So this is one of like the 1 billion ideas that I have for my life that maybe someday I'll do this, but like a group of people, like a tribe of people come to my house every morning and we do like a miracle morning together and share that experience and then go off to our day. I think it would be so neat. So I had no idea where this life coach thing is going to go, but the biggest compliment I ever got from a student was when they said, "Yo, I don't look at you like a teacher, Mr. D. I look at you like a life coach." And I was like, boom, like that's really cool. So.
Yeah. Drop the mic. That was good.
Hey, you guys are awesome. This was so fun for me. I've had a great day, and this was a great cherry on my Sunday. So thank you both so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To our amazing family listeners out there, hope you're able to glean a little something from this and apply it to your life in a way that positively impacts yourself, your health, someone else's self, or someone else's health. We so very much appreciate your ears. We thank you for your time. We are incredibly grateful for your attention. On behalf of Brian Fortier and Todd Ellis, I am Pete Driscoll, and we are the Schooling Struggle Podcast. We are out.
See ya.
Take care, guys.